Here we go then. Welcome back to a TNC Watchalong, everybody. Thanks for all joining me. No Chris today, just myself. I thought I'd tune in for the start of the Wagnolution FA Cup third round action against Blackburn Rovers. It is at Carrow Road, but I thought, why not watch it at home with you lovely lot? And hopefully we'll see a win. Now, I'm already seeing a lot of comments saying, where am I watching it? Now, I'm not going to encourage opening betting accounts. Do so at your own will. You may already have some, but they are streaming them on the majority of the betting websites tonight. Betting companies have basically got the rights for the early rounds of the FA Cup. I'm going to be watching it on Bet365. I believe Paddy Power, Live Score Bet, Betfair, a few others are doing the same. So I'm going to be watching on there. Just 4 minutes until kickoff. Norwich City, the favourites for this one. Hoping my stream will fire up soon, and hopefully we'll get the stream and have some fun on here today. How are you all doing? Let me know in the comments section. I'm going to be reading the majority of them out, and hopefully we'll see some decent football in David Wagner's first game in charge. Let's get the team up then. Norwich City with a fairly strong one for early stages of the FA Cup. Tim Krul in goal, coming in for Angus Gunn, Max Aarons, Big Andy and Hanley at centre-back, Ben Gibson dropped. And then we've got Yanulis at left-back. Nice to see Dimmy in there. A midfield of Kenny McLean, Marcelino, Nunez, Gabriel Sara. And then a front three of Onel Hernandez, Adam Ida and Timu Pukki. It's very frustrating with those that they do it on numbers rather than positions. I'm working my way around the overlay, trying to see who's playing well. As I say, a relatively strong side for early round of the FA Cup. Thoughts on the starting 11? Well, I think it's fairly clear that David Wagner wants to win his first game in charge. I think all of you lot know that I'm not a huge fan of these cup competitions, not in general, but for Norwich City. I think they can often come as a bit of a distraction, and Norwich City need to finish in the top six of the league this season. That's the only priority, and I think the deeper you get into these cup stages, the more games you have. But I think that it's a slight anomaly this season where Norwich City just need to win some games, just need to get some confidence, just need to score some goals, particularly at home, where the majority of fans will be watching. My stream is up and running, so I have pictures live from Carrow Road, which is pleasing. For those of you just joining, I'm watching via Bet365. I think a lot of the betting companies have the rights for the early rounds of the FA Cup. I think Paddy Power, Betfair, the such are doing the same. So why not? If you're over 18 and you want to chuck a couple of quid in a gambling account, you can watch on there and tune in with all of us lovely people. Someone said, is Sargent injured? No, I don't think he's injured. I think it's solely a team selection thing, just dropped. And I'm not surprised, to be honest, because he's had a very busy couple of months. I was really surprised that he came straight back into the fold after the World Cup where he picked up an injury. So I think it's wise to not only bring Onel Hernandez back into the picture, because I think he can be dangerous at this level, but just to give Josh a rest. Don't think he's injured, put it that way. Right, let's go full screen on the stream, and we can get things kicking. I'm really excited for this one, actually. I'm intrigued to see how David Wagner sets up. Look, I don't think he's had too much time on the grass that everyone says. So I don't think it's going to be too different. I think just a fresh amount of energy will be really, really pleasing for Norwich City. Callum, by the way, everyone, get your comments in. I'm going to try and read through them. Look, I'm on my own today. No, Chris, he's doing important things. He's got a lot going on at the moment. So it's just me chatting to myself. Callum says, seems like there's a mixed opinion on Kieran Dowell. I'm not the biggest fan. What are your thoughts on him? I think Kieran Dowell can be effective. I don't think he's been great this season. I think he was thrown straight back into the mix fairly quick after he had laryngitis. And I think for any player, it's really difficult to be effective when you're playing like 10-minute cameos. I thought the penalty gave away against, who was it? Reading was quite unfortunate. It was a silly, soft challenge, but it shouldn't have been given. It was given, and I don't think too many have forgiven him for that. And they're the moments, particularly when you're only playing 5, 10, 15-minute cameos that people remember. Anyway, we're underway here at Carrow Road. Amazingly, I think my stream is fully up to date. So Norwich have kicked off against Blackburn. For those of you tuning in, welcome. This is a watch-along for the FA Cup third round game between Norwich City and Blackburn Rovers. Norwich setting up fairly strong. Of course, we played Blackburn not so long ago and lost that game 2-0. Blackburn are going very well in the league. They've got some really good talent in that side. I think setting up slightly weaker than they did in our league game, but nonetheless, still a fairly strong squad. As Norwich City attack early here with Adam Eder down the right, got a really nice position. It was a lovely ball from Max Aarons, who cuts it across, and that's an early chance for Teemu Pukki. Bright early signs from Norwich. Adam Eder got down the right there really nicely, delivered across. It sort of fumbled its way across the edge of the area. It was a lovely run from Adam Eder. It was a nice ball, I think, from Marcelino Nunez. Just watching this back now, beats the defender, gets into a really nice position, just fires it a bit too hard at Teemu Pukki. But nice early signs from Norwich City. Just heard Chris on 5 Live, was he? Oh, that's very good. I usually have 5 Live on the majority of the day, but didn't have it on to hear Chris. Will we do more watch-alongs? I think so. I think that's the aim. Not for the home games, obviously. As I say, doing a watch-along during a home game. We're usually obviously there. This is a cup game. Don't get the tickets in the season ticket package. But yeah, I think for a few more away games, look, we love doing these watch-alongs, me in particular. As Norwich get down away the right again, there's so much space here. Adam Eder again with a dangerous ball across. Norwich getting some really nice movement in early on here. Adam Eder once again in a really nice crossing position. Early on, this David Wagner Norwich team causing Blackburn some problems. I think with all of the Norwich performances this season, we need to take our chances early. That's been the key thing. Lots of people saying, "Where's the stream?" Look, this is a watch along, so I'm just watching it. Chuck on my voice instead of the commentary. You can watch the game via the majority of the betting apps. I'm watching it via Bet365. It's a really crisp stream. I think Paddy's, Betfair, Live Score Bet, the like doing the same. Not going to say that again. My favourite player says Train Locomotives. This season, that's a tricky one. I mean, the easy answer is Teemu Pukki. I think Teemu's been one of the most gifted, best finishers we've seen at Norwich. I think probably in my lifetime in terms of finishes, he is the best. I think Holty probably had a bit more of an all-round hustle bustle type game, but Teemu's movement is still, I think, the best in the Championship. And we're very lucky to have him. I think we've got to really appreciate having him because I don't think we'll have him for too much longer. What's the formation looking like? Good question, Nathan. I think we've gone for 3 across the front line, and it's going quite well at the moment. Adam Eder's basically playing right wing. You've got Teemu through the middle. Marcelino Nunez is quite high up the pitch. Standard back 4. I think for me, the interesting thing under David Wagner will be how he sets up the midfield, because that's been the real issue, I think, for Norwich this season. Retaining possession has been a difficulty. Progressing the ball forwards has been a real difficulty. There's been a clear disconnect between defensive line and the forward line, and the midfield is capable of doing that. I think last time we got promoted from the division, we had Ollie Skip, and he was a very gifted footballer, and I don't think we've got anyone quite like that in this team at the moment. I think Liam Gibbs could potentially get to those levels. I don't think he's there at the moment. I think he's been quite erratic. I think we can't get carried away with Liam Gibbs because there has been some disappointing performances in there. Look, he's clearly a very able footballer, but he's nowhere near the levels that we've had before. Norwich then, with 4 minutes and 15 seconds into this game, it's still 0-0. Norwich had the majority of the ball and a couple of really nice early movements down the right-hand side through Adam Eder. Basically just hopeful balls chucked forward. Eder's got onto the end of them, delivered crosses, haven't met anyone in the middle of the box. I think that's been the real frustration, particularly under Dean Smith, was we were getting in the final third on a fairly regular basis as Blackburn give the ball away here, and it's 4-on-4. Timu Pukki progressing nicely, goes out to the left with Owen Hernandez, who finds the overlap with Kenny McLean. And again, Norwich get in behind, and again, Blackburn clear their lines. It was Dimi Anulis overlapping Kenny McLean down the left, getting loads of joy down the wide areas. And this is what we heard, wasn't it, from David Wagner? He likes to get those fullbacks kicking on, overlapping and delivering crosses. And that's what we've seen 4 times already in the opening 5 minutes of this game. Nice to see Carrow looking fairly packed as Norwich deliver a cross into the box to no avail. Lots of people seem to be there. I'm not sure if they've shut the upper tiers. If you're tuning in from Carrow Road, then let me know how many people are there. Right, one last time I'm going to say it. Harry, you can watch it via, I think the only way I know is via betting websites. And please don't open up a betting account just to watch this game. I'm watching it via Bet365. Basically, I think the betting companies purchased the rights to the early rounds of the FA Cup, if not all of the FA Cup games. And I don't think it's going ahead this season. Favourite chances, Hannah? My goodness. Throwing the comments in there. Favourite chant? I love the Gabriel Sara one. And weirdly, I don't even think Sara's been that impressive this season. But that chant has just really caught on. I was just looking there. I thought Gabriel Sara was going off, and I was just having a little word with David Wagner. Anna, I've answered the question. Please go easy on the comments. We've got a Blackburn head injury here. It was a nasty collision from a corner. So an early stoppage in this game. Still 0-0, 6 minutes on the clock. Norwich with the better of the ball and looking more lively so far. Kobe says, have we been playing well? We have, mate. Yeah, we have. Look, not really getting in any clear shooting positions as of yet, but some nice early movement in the final third so far. Arsenal undefeated. His thoughts on Campwell potentially moving to Rangers. Haven't heard that link. It's a real shame with Todd. Look, I love Todd. We've been lucky enough to interview him on the channel. We speak to him, well, not regularly. We were speaking to him fairly regularly. He's clearly a very talented individual, and we saw that during the Premier League campaign, a bit in the Championship, and he's just got off the boil. I think he's been unfortunate with a few different bits. Equally, I think he could have probably helped himself in a few moments. But this is a really pivotal kind of few months for Todd, because he's gone from being on the radar of top 6 Premier League clubs a couple of years ago to not even being in the squad of a mid-table Championship side. And that will not only concern him, but it will concern the staff at Norwich who, you know, his contract is coming up. They are short of cash. He would have been a potential big money sale a couple of years ago, and now his value's through the floor. So, yeah, I think Todd is very capable. I think he's more than good enough to excel in the Championship if he gets his head right. But clearly something's amiss, and that's a concern. But the good thing for Todd is the talent is there. The talent is absolutely there. 8 minutes into this game, we had about a 3-minute stoppage. Wharton is going off for Blackburn, and nice to see actually them taking head injuries seriously. We saw in the World Cup, didn't we, a couple of really nasty head injuries that they just carried on playing. But they are making a substitute here, Blackburn Rovers, and it's still 0-0 in this one. Samuel Howell, are you not able to show us what you're watching? Sadly not, mate. That would be a huge infringement of copyright. These watch-alongs are basically just an alternate commentary. Somewhere for you guys to chat in the comments, somewhere for me to voice my opinion. The stream is out there in a fully legal capacity. They are on the betting websites. Just go onto the betting website. I think you've got to have a couple of quid in your account, and then you can literally just click on. So, yeah. Not much to speak about at the moment. Ivan Smith, Campbell look good in training. Be surprised if he's not starting next week if fit. I assume you've obviously been to training, Ivan, but what a lovely privilege to have. Yeah, look, he's a very talented footballer, and clearly something was up with him and Daniel. Clearly something was up with him and Dean. I think Todd's a confidence player. I think Todd's, as with all players, need game time to remain consistent, and he hasn't had that. I think if you get him in this side in a system that fits him, he will excel. He's got the ability to find cutting-edge passes that we haven't seen this season from any of our players. And he's got the ability to slice open defenders. And we need that. We need that more than ever because we've been lacking so much quality in the final third, and Todd does have that. Simon, what did I have for breakfast this morning? These are the kind of questions that I can get stuck into. I had some Greek yogurt, I had some berries, I had some granola and a banana, and I watched Happy Valley because I'm absolutely obsessed and I'm fully caught up with Happy Valley now, and it's on this evening. If any of you are watching Happy Valley, how good. How good. Norwich attacking here nicely. Again, overlapping. Teemu Pukki's in here. Timu's in. Dimi Yanulis. Oh, it was a really good opportunity that. We're in the 10th minute, guys. Again, every time Norwich get the ball and move forward, they've seemingly got men over. It was a nice little run from Gabriel Sara. He plays in Teemu Pukki, tries to get the back heel into Adamida, and they fluff their lines. Matt Gregory, I am on the 10th minute and 48th second. 10 minutes 50 now, if you want to sync up. It is indeed. Happy Valley is class. It is probably the best bit of TV I've watched since Line of Duty. I think absolutely brilliant. Where's Chris? Chris is doing other bits that are more important. I think simple as that. He's I don't know if I think he's moving house soon, so I think he's packing boxes. How's the running going? I don't know if you can see, my hair's a bit still wet. I literally got out of the shower and jumped onto this. I've done my 5K for today. My aim is, usually I'd be having a beer when I'm watching the football, but no alcohol in January, and I'm running 5K a day. Basically, I got to the stage where I was like, I need to lose some weight, and January's a good time to do it. No one's really going out. I needed something to do every day. Blackburn have a chance here. It's a corner. It's a good save by Tim Krul. I think that was, it was Ben Brereton Diaz. It was a floated ball in. It falls to Brereton Diaz at the back post. I think it's either blocked or saved by Tim Krul. Of course, Angus Gunn dropped to the bench today. What was it? Was it a save? I think it was a block from Marcelino Nunez. Good chance there for Blackburn. They're growing into the game a bit. But thank you very much, Kieran, for asking. I really do appreciate it. Thoughts on Wes Hoolahan? Probably the most gifted playmaker we've ever had at Norwich City. A genuinely lovely bloke. I love Wes. Funny story. Wes is actually a really good golfer, and we've played golf a couple of times, name dropping. And he still plays five-a-side with just some friends from where he lives, and they were a player short. And Wes asked me to join the five-a-side team for the evening. And I was like, no, I cannot do that. Imagine me trying to pull the strings with Wes Hoolahan. It'd just be so embarrassing. So yeah, but loved Wes as a player. Don't think we've ever had anyone close to him in terms of the way he played. It was just so fluent. It was, I mean, if he had a right foot, he would have gone to the very top of the game. Yeah, loved Wes. I think Emi Buendia was probably close. I think he was a different player. Wes was just technically so gifted, just came so easy to him, saw things that other players couldn't see. His centre of gravity was so tight. Loved him. Absolutely loved Wes. I think I started going to Norwich games regularly in that League One campaign. What was that, 2009? Yeah, I think so. That was when I first started to properly go to matches rather than tune into highlights or watch it on the telly. So I had Chrissy Martin, Wes Hoolahan, Grant Holt. What a gifted front three. Just a brilliant time to be a Norwich fan. It's been an absolute roller coaster in the sort of 15 years of watching Norwich that I've had on a consistent basis. It's been huge fun. Aidan says, how are we looking in the first 15 minutes? Yeah, fairly good. Fairly good. Norwich, I think the thing I've noticed most is we're really willing to commit men forwards. Every time we've had the ball in the Blackburn half, it seems like we've either got the same amount of players or more players in them. And we've just been lacking, as we have been all season, that final bit of quality in the final third. We've had, I'd say, 3 or 4 really good moments where if we would have found the cross, we would have been, it would have been a tap-in. So it's coming. It looks more positive. I think with all of this stuff, we have to give David Wagner time, and we have to be patient. But early signs are positive. And to be honest, we should be we should be bossing this game, right? I think we've gone stronger in the setup than Blackburn have. I think Blackburn have dropped a few individuals. Considering their league position, I think they've got a really decent chance of promotion this season. I think probably a better chance than we do at this stage. That's fair to say. And we're in a slightly different situation to Blackburn. Like, we're playing at home under a new manager. He'll want to set an impression very early on, and so will the players. Like, it's like when you get a new manager and at work, you want to impress them, so you get promoted or you get a pay rise. Like, these players need to impress, otherwise they'll be dropped. As Anamida once again strides down the right-hand side and again just can't find that final ball. But Norwich really pressing. They're pressing higher. They're committing men forwards, and they're looking a lot more dynamic in the attack, which is absolutely brilliant. As Max Aarons gets forward this time. Look, if there's anything that you should watch after this, there's a couple of bits. I thought the interview that David Wagner did with Darren Eadie was really good. And I think with the football club and set how it's stalled. The other thing I liked was a video from Tifo Football on David Wagner's tactics from his time at Huddersfield. And one of the key things I took away from that, and I think one of the big reasons Norwich City wanted David Wagner in this role, is the attacking fullbacks. Now, I think we've got some really gifted fullbacks at this team. Sam McCallum, Max Aarons, Dilianulis, Ballymumba if he comes back, or at the end of this season, and that could be a really positive step forwards. Chris says, "How are you watching this?" Nice for you to turn up, mate. You should have been watching earlier. I told everyone. As Grant Hanley gets ahead on it, and it's a good save by the goalkeeper. All of the betting websites are streaming it. I think you've just got to place a bet or have money in your account. And actually, it's on time. It's really crisp. I'm jinxing it now. And everything is plain sailing at the moment. Hello, Chris. I hope you're well. And if you want to join in, come to the party. More than welcome. Everyone's welcome here. Again, Norwich City deliver a ball. It's fumbled around in the area, and Blackburn clear their lines. Norwich City are looking, don't talk it up, pretty good here as Dimianulis gets down the left-hand side and again can't deliver the ball in, but it's a corner for Norwich City. There we go, Josh. Thank you. Someone else saying it's on Bet365. You just need an account. There you go. If you're under 18, maybe ask your granddad or something, or your dad. What did everyone think of Jack's pronunciation of the Atanasios on the recent podcast? I'm sure, Chris, they were delighted with my pronunciation, as I'm perfect in every way. Magnum Parker. Two great names. Next manager will be called Tits Up. Very good. Very good. Have I ever heard of Talking Rangers? No, I haven't. I watch a lot of YouTube, though, so I'm sure I've come across them at some stage. One player who needs some time out on loan. That's a good question, NCFC Milo. I keep forgetting to actually watch the game, and Norwich City, I keep saying it, once again striding forwards here. We are building, and we're building nicely down the right-hand side. We've got men in the box. It's Onel Hernandez on the ball. He cuts it back to Max Aarons. He'll stride inside and run at the Blackburn defence and cross it into the goalkeeper's arms. And one player that needs some time out on loan. Adam Eder, I think. I think Adam broke onto the scene quite quickly. I think everyone thought that he was the next big thing. And look, I like Adam. I think he's a half-decent player. I think the injuries have really hampered him. I like the goal he scored against Reading the other week. I think we need a bit more of that sharpness in the box that he showed then. But I don't know. Just seeing there, actually, a little highlight, but a little repeat. I think Blackburn should have had a penalty earlier on there. Kenny McLean, no one around him. Ball just flicked up onto his hand. And I think he very much controlled it with his hands. I think Norwich can maybe think themselves lucky here that they haven't given away a penalty. But the game, all Norwich so far. There was a half chance for Ben Brereton Diaz. To be fair, Norwich haven't really had a clear-cut opportunity, but they've had 5 or 6 really good moments in the final third. Adam Eder, I'm going to say there. If not, can't really say Sam McCallum because we're a bit limited at fullback. I'd say Adam Eder. That's where my head's going there. I'd love to hear your thoughts actually on who you think should be loaned out. One player we would realistically sign. I don't think we're going to do any business in January, to be honest. And The weird thing is I think we do need a touch more quality in midfield, but we've got a really bloated side. We've got so much depth. And I think that's one of the big things David Wagner's going to have a challenge with, is the fact that he's got so many players at his disposal. He needs to find his best 11. He needs to find some consistency quickly. And he also needs to keep the likes of Jordan Hugill and who else? And Dimi Anulis onside and fit. And when they need to be called up, they're ready to go, because there will be a moment this season where Jordan Hugill will be needed. And we need to keep him sharp, and we need to keep him fit, and we need to keep him happy. And that's really difficult when they're not playing week in, week out. So I don't think we'll make any notable signings, to be honest, this January. And to be honest, I think we've got bigger fish to fry at this stage. By the way, not saying you have to, certainly not pressuring you into it. The super chat option is there. It helps support the channel and also this stream as Honor Hernandez strides forward. And again, can't deliver the final ball in, but it's mopped up by, I think that's Kenny McLean, who I like in this Norwich setup. I think he's buzzy. I think he's quick. I think when Kenny McLean isn't in the setup, we really do notice it. Why doesn't Timu take corner kicks? I guess he's a bit of a fox in the box, isn't he? If a chance falls to him in the box, you probably bank on him to score it. As again, I keep saying at Norwich stride forwards, it's Timu Pukki out wide. And again, Norwich will win a corner. If you're on the overs here, on the corners, I think your bet's coming in, because I think we've already had about 10, it seems. So the super chat option is there. I'm not pressuring you into it, just letting you know. If you want to help support the channel and keep all of this stuff free, then it's there. Also, there's discount codes in the description for Nor and Lakens. They're our primary partners. It actually works out relatively cheap with those discount codes, and it is really quality Norfolk produce. I know you will love it because you always let me know. We are 21 minutes into this game. It's Norwich City 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. No real clear-cut chances for either side at the moment. Norwich have had the majority of the ball and the better movement in the final third, I'd say. And Norwich striding forwards. They're not at this moment, Simon, but they have been quite a lot in this game. Kieran, do you think Jollis will have a part to play in the second half of this season? No, I don't think he will. I think I saw a picture the other day of him still training with FC Twente. I can't see it. Maybe. I think we are kind of crying out for wingers. It all depends on like the system Wagner wants to play, right? Because if we play the same system as we did under Dean Smith, I don't think Jollis is needed. But is Sargent a winger? I don't know. Is Adam Eder a winger? I'm not sure. I think all of them realistically would like to play through the middle of the pitch, but there's only one player that can do that. So you either drop Pukki and you play one of them, or you don't drop Pukki and you play them wide. It's a really difficult. I think the right word is unbalanced. This squad is unbalanced. There's a lot of players, but not particularly in positions that we want them. So, yeah, it's going to be a difficult job for David Wagner. But to caveat that, I know I'm contradicting myself, it is a difficult job for David Wagner. Equally, this league's really poor. And I think all of the best judges have said this league's really poor. And we can see with our own eyes, like the fact that like Blackburn are in the top 6, Borough are in the top 6. Like they're fairly average teams. And no disrespect to them because we're miles below them. But comparing this division to previous campaigns, there's not as much quality. Even the likes of Burnley and Sheffield United, who I know are definitely the best outfits in this division, I think that will remain in the top 2, have weaknesses and do ship goals. And that will frustrate the upper echelons of Norwich because we could be in that situation. And we're not because of mismanagement and lack of quality and just different, situations that have gone wrong at Norwich this season, and there have been plenty of them. This game's turning slightly scrappy. Lots of fairly poor football contested in the middle of the pitch. I think you can tell that Norwich are trying to play slightly differently, but just not quite clicking at the moment. You feel like we're close. You feel like the opening goal's coming soon. but it's not. It's still 0-0. Amazingly, Blackburn have actually had more of the ball. I've just seen the possession stats. 55% of the ball compared to Norwich's 45%. And that surprises me. Here we go. Pointless goal updates. Love these. We've got a Dutch. I think that's Dutch, isn't it? A Dutch goal update. Camber 0, FC Volendam 2. Goals galore in Holland. Jack, can you shed some light on why Ben Gibson and Grant Hanley keep getting into the first team? They're League Two standard at best. I think that's a bit harsh. I think they are. I think Grant Hanley's. How do I word this? I think Grant Hanley's a better footballer than Ben Gibson. The frustration with Ben Gibson is, like, we know he's good. We know there's quality in there. As Blackburn come forward here, and this is a good chance. And again, that was probably the best opening of the game. It was 3-on-1 there. All they had to do was square it across goal, and they couldn't find the path. That's been the story of this game so far. Both teams getting into really good crossing areas and just not being able to deliver that final ball. That was a good chance there for Blackburn. And Norwich will be concerned that they were opened up so easily. Best play I've seen in a Norwich shirt. Emi Buendia was just magic. James Maddison was, you could tell, was going to the very top. Wes Hoolahan was just technically so good. I think Teemu Pukki is probably one of the best finishers the Championship's ever seen. And I don't think that's too controversial. I think the goal record speaks for itself. Maybe not so. I think like 18-19 Teemu was just peak Teemu Pukki. I think he's probably lost a yard of pace. I think the system doesn't quite suit him this time around. But like that 18-19 season, even the last time in the Championship, he got the ball one-on-one, he was scoring. He got the ball in the final third, he was scoring. It was as simple as that. It was brilliant to watch. Who else have we got? I think John Ruddy, if we're going like defensive players, John Ruddy had a season or two where he was one of the best goalkeepers in England and got into the England setup. So I think we've been really lucky with goalkeepers over the years. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was waffling, wasn't I? I was talking about Hanley and Gibson. The thing with Gibson is we know there's a very capable player in there. He's been poor this season. I think Grant Hanley maybe gets a little bit too much stick. I don't think he's been as bad as people make out. Like, look, he's not been great. We've shipped a lot of goals this season, and I think with the actual defensive line we've got, that's unforgivable because there's some real quality in there, particularly our fullbacks. I mean, Max Aarons would get into any side in this division on his day. Dimi Anulis is a very talented footballer and was on the radar of Liverpool before they signed their other Greek left back. I can't remember his name. Look, we've got a really good roster. That was very American. We've got a really good team sheet and the back line, and they've just not been good enough. Again, Norwich come forwards. It's Marcelino Nunez down the left-hand side. Can he deliver a good ball? It might actually be Onel Hernandez. It is Onel Hernandez. He does get a ball in. It falls to Teemu Pukki, and it goes over the bar. That's probably the best chance of the game. It was Onel Hernandez, trademark, just hitting the byline, gets the ball into Teemu. It's a difficult opportunity. It's a near-post run, but he does connect with it, and it goes behind for a goal kick. That was really nice from Norwich. And finally, we've seen a final ball connect with a striker. We've got into those positions quite regularly and just not found the final ball. I know Hernandez did there. It was a difficult chance for Teemu, but he got a shot away. That's the one. Tsimikas. Good player. And I think Dimi is at those levels as well, if we can get some regular game time. Callum, over the past few years, Hanley's made many mistakes in games, which is really frustrating. He's a good player that isn't immune to making mistakes. Yeah, I'm not saying he hasn't made mistakes. And maybe with the ball on the floor, he's not ideal. I think he's very aerially sound, like he wins his fair share of headers. I think defensively from corners, he's really good. He's a threat going forwards from corners. Not that he scored for a while. I think at Championship level, he's one of the better centre-backs. He just nothing's been working this season. Nothing. So I think to single Hanley out would be unfair. I think Ben Gibson has had his struggles. The opening 10 minutes against Reading was one of the worst showings I've seen from him. He was really poor, got turned every time the Reading players got the ball, he was turned. It's still 0-0, half an hour on the clock now. There's been a couple of half chances for either side. I think Norwich will be fairly happy with how they've started this game. Carrow Road, by the way, looking really full, which is nice to see because it's a miserable day. Tickets aren't included in your season ticket package. I think money's tight for everyone at the moment. But there's still plenty of people at Carrow Road, and I hope they're enjoying the football they're seeing so far. What's my best ever 5K time? My best ever time is 23 minutes 10. That was like peak Jack Ree fitness. My best time in the last year, I think, has been about 26:30. 26:30, I think. I'm no means quick, but I do really enjoy my running. I do very much enjoy it. Clears my head. This is another debate, isn't it? I'm going to have a sip of coffee to stimulate myself and to lubricate the vocal cords. I've got my little posh cup here with my espresso. Hang on. Lovely. Not sure Hanley should be captain. New leadership is needed. Well, that is a different conversation because that's... Oh dear. Norwich have conceded. That was an absolute howler from the Norwich back line. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Norwich had the ball under seemingly no pressure. I'm going to have to watch this back, but Blackburn are leading in this game. I need to watch this back here. So it's picked up by Tim Krul. It goes to Grant Hanley, and Grant Hanley just passes it to the Blackburn player. That was proper commentator's curse, saying, I don't think Grant Hanley makes too many mistakes, as Grant Hanley literally passes it to Blackburn for them to score. I mean, that sums up a team low on confidence. It really does. Blackburn are leading this game 1-0. It's Norwich are under no pressure whatsoever, and Hanley passes it to the Blackburn striker, who cuts it back and scores. It's Vale, first name Port, with the goal on the 31-minute mark. And that's really frustrating for Norwich because they have been the better side in this game. And just as I was saying, Hanley doesn't make mistakes, he makes his biggest mistake of the season. David Wagner, as the rain pours down on him with his dark Norwich City cap and puffer jacket on, he's seemingly thinking, what have I taken on here? Oh dear. That is not the script. It's not the team, it's Hanley. Well, that is fair, but Norwich are coming forwards here now with Onel Hernandez. Again. Can't find a final ball. Look, I love Onel. He's helped us immeasurably. He's a brilliant man, and on this day, a very good footballer, but his final product is really, really frustrating. Just can't deliver across. Always finds always finds the Blackburn defender. Sorry, I made a lame joke that the Blackburn striker who scored, surname Vale, has the first name Port. His name isn't Port Vale. It could be, but it's not. Interestingly, I was just thinking Blackburn were pushing high with almost a front four, but still no excuse. Well, look, they will probably know that our defenders on the ball are a bit nervy at the moment, and Hanley could have simply lumped it forwards. It's probably been drilled into him in the first few days of Wagner that that's probably not the ideal approach. And he's decided to go back to Tim Krul, and he hasn't put enough weight on it, and it's fallen straight to their man, and he's cut it across. It's a really, really stupid goal to give away, particularly when you're finding a bit of space, a bit of joy. Just stay tight. Just keep tight. And hopefully, with patience, can work a goal. Now, I mean, when was the last time we came from behind to win a game? Honestly, when was the last time? Here's a chance, though. It's Teemu Pukki in the box. It's well blocked by the defender. Onel did find a cross there. Norwich getting a bit of joy. It's just sloppy in that final third. Onel's got it on the left-hand side. He'll give it to Kenny McLean. Again, Teemu Pukki did have the ball in the box there. It was a good block by the Blackburn defender. Kenny McLean strides forward and kind of peters out. Yeah, look, Blackburn will know if they press high up the pitch then they'll have joy, because Norwich just aren't connected from defence to midfield at the moment. Like, how many times have we seen that this season, where either Ben Gibson, Big Andy, Grant Hanley gets it centre back, either has to go back to the keeper or just lump it forward, because there's seemingly no one connecting defence to attack. That is the big thing that David Wagner will have to do this season, is find a formula for that, because when we get it in that final third, that we look a bit more dynamic, but again, we look pretty pedestrian when we've got the ball on the back line. And Blackburn, it's fairly simple. You press high, you win the ball. If you don't, we haven't got the quality to kind of pick through the lines. And if they do win the ball, then they'll open up an opportunity like they just did. Do I know James Olcott? I do know James Olcott. James Olcott is one of the loveliest blokes you'll ever meet, and very talented. We used to work a little bit together at Ball Street. I saw James last season. Was it last season? I think it'd been the season before. At a Norwich QPR game. They're showing images of Carrow Road, and to say it's raining would be an understatement. I think the best thing that could happen here was the ground to get waterlogged and this game to be postponed, because it's really not too joyful at the moment. It is properly tipping it down at Carrow Road at the moment. Remember when Hanley wasn't good enough, so Blackburn sold him? I do. No, I think Hanley. Look, I think Hanley gets a lot of stick, and I think a lot of it's quite unfair. I think he's been a good servant for Norwich. He has got a mistake in him. A lot of Norwich players have been woeful this season. The rain is biblical. It is properly chucking it down at Carrow Road. There's already sort of puddles starting to appear around the pitch where it's not draining so well. If it stays like this, it will get very, very wet. Here's a chance. Corner. Oh, hits it. Again, it's another block, and it's a good block by the Blackburn defender. And it's cleared out. This wasn't in the script, was it? This was meant to be fun. This was meant to be joyful. It's teeming it down with rain. You know what I feel for at the moment? The ball boys and the ball girls who are just sitting there on the floor, getting soaked and rarely having too much to do. Justice for the ball boys and girls, I say. This is true. This is true, Josh. We've made bang average teams look amazing at Carrow. That needs to change. Haven't seen us dominate 90 minutes in a while. No, I can't remember the last complete performance. I think that was the biggest frustration of the Dean Smith, is we'd have like 15, 20-minute spells of kind of goodness, and then just really fall off the wagon. And that's been the same under Steve Weaver and Alan Russell. And it's been the same in this game as well. Like, we had a good 15-minute spell where we looked fairly promising and then give away a sloppy goal. And since that point, have been turgid. And that will be... Look, I think that is a lot to do with confidence. Like, the amount of times we've gone behind this season and then just given up. That's been a huge frustration. And that needs to change. But there will be opportunities in this game for Norwich. But it's evident that the quality has significantly dropped off since we conceded. It really disappointed me, that game against Watford, where, yes, we conceded in the 86th minute, but because of the amount of added time, and the players will have known how much added time was coming, there was still 15 minutes of that game left. And we just didn't ever look close to scoring, which was just hugely, hugely disappointing. Trying to make my stream a bit bigger. It's not working. So that's been really disappointing. And I think that largely comes down to confidence, to be honest. There we go. Not too much else to say. Would you take Farker back? No, I wouldn't. We're not Peterborough. Like, Ferguson just going in and out of there. I don't think it's sustainable. You hit a peak and then you kind of fall off again. I think Daniel had his time. He was marvellous. He brought such great things to this football club. But don't go back. Don't go back. I think that's the key message. Really disappointing. Robin says the last complete performance was Millwall at home. Yeah, I think what was it? Huddersfield and Millwall, wasn't it? Where Teemu Pukki was injured and Sargent played through the middle. We did look fairly good in. I wouldn't say they were complete performances. I think we looked okay in them. I think it also raises the point of Josh Sargent through the middle. I think he looks far more effective there. But then you're dropping Teemu, and you just can't drop Teemu. I think he's undroppable. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think it would be a really bold call and a slightly foolish one to just alienate Teemu Pukki out of the side. Unless, what was the game? I think it was Blackpool, maybe, where Teemu didn't start and came on and scored the winner. Maybe I'm making that up. He is effective off the bench, and what a brilliant asset he would be off the bench. But yeah. Norwich are losing this game 1-0 at home to Blackburn Rovers in the third round of the FA Cup. And I must say, it's been a tough watch 10 minutes onwards. Blackburn scored through a fatal Grant Hanley error. And again, come forward here. That's a good clearance from, I think, Kenny McLean. Oh dear. Fraser says, why not drop Teemu? He's gone in the summer anyway. Because I think Teemu still has a lot to offer. Maybe we could drop him. And that would certainly be the fix to get Sargent through the middle. I think that's where he needs to play. I just don't really like when strikers go out wide. I don't think they're as effective. I think it's remarkable that Josh has scored as many as he has while playing basically as a winger this season, in a system that still doesn't really suit him. It's just when Teemu gets the ball, like, you just think he scores. Maybe I'm just getting caught up in nostalgia here, but I think Teemu has to start football matches because I think when he does, there's goals to be had. Overall, who's on top at the moment? Probably Blackburn, last 15. I think we were the better team first 20. The goal has completely killed us. I think the ideal here would just be to get into half-time, reassess, regroup, and go again, because we've looked so flat since the Blackburn goal, which will disappoint David Wagner, because it's a common trait of Norwich this season of going ahead or going behind and then finding nothing. I know quite a lot of Watford fans, and they couldn't believe how quickly we folded after conceding. It was shocking, really. I mean, the fact that they're without 15 players, they played a relatively strong side against Reading in the Cup yesterday and got pumped 2-0. Reading played a weakened side as well. Like, Watford are on their day and with a fully fit squad a really decent outfit at this level, but to get bullied by a side that are without 15 players, I mean, they are properly in an injury crisis, and I think we'll see drop off in the next few weeks. To get beaten 1-0 at home by them was just so disappointing. Ono Hernandez with the ball down the left-hand side. He'll cut it across. It's a good chance for Kenny McLean. I think that's Kenny McLean. May have been Marcelino Nunez. That's the best chance Norwich have had so far. And it's a good save by the Blackburn keeper. We've had Joy down the left with Ono Hernandez. He finds the pass there. Oh, sorry, it was Gabriel Sara with a really nice strike with his left foot. Pulls out a smart save from the Blackburn keeper. The joy Norwich have had, and it's been limited, has been down the wings. Adam Eder early on, Ono Hernandez since that point. That's the best jump Norwich have had. It was a really nicely struck shot from Gabriel Sara, and it pulls out a smart save from the Blackburn goalkeeper. This is the problem with our fans. We all live in the past with Teemu. We're not in 2019 anymore. He's past it. We need to move on and get better players in. I think that's harsh. Look, I'm all up for tweaking things, and I think there is an argument for dropping Teemu Pukki, because I think Norwich have looked their strongest this season when Josh Sargent has been through the middle. I would have caveat that by saying I think probably 95% of Championship teams would have Teemu Pukki in their starting 11. I think he's still one of the best strikers in this division. It's not his fault that every time he gets the ball, his back's to goal. I think the system has been poor for him. If you had and look, I know this is would be a complete privilege. But if he had anywhere endearing behind him playing those through balls, he scores 15 goals already this season. I really liked Teemu. Oh, that's a chance for Norwich. It was a ball played across by Teemu. I think it's Adamida on the flick and just completely misses it. It's been evident so far that David Wagner wants to hit the wings and wants to deliver crosses into the box. And we have done that. Some of them have been good. Some of them have been shite. We have had chances, but Norwich do find themselves behind against Blackburn. There's 4 minutes at a time in the first half. That was down to the Blackburn head injury quite early on in this game. Norwich will be really, really disappointed, and David Wagner in particular, that they're losing this game because they've had the better of the ball, and the Blackburn goal was simply from a complete error from Grant Hanley. Just switched off, didn't find the weight on the pass, was caught out. I haven't said it for a while, so I'll say it again. I'm watching via Bet365. The betting companies have the rights for the early games in the FA Cup. You've just got to have an account, I think, with at least like 5 pence in, and you can watch the game. I would probably recommend at this stage not to watch the game because it's not great viewing. Jeff says, very harsh. Teemu Pukki's still our best player. I probably agree with you, Jeff. I think his movement is still there. I think he has lost a yard of pace. There's been a few moments this season where you go, oh, I think Teemu of 2 years ago finishes that. But overall, he's been good. Let's talk about stats, shall we? With Joshua Shreve. So close to being a Reeve, Joshua Shreve. Pukki stats this season. 25 matches, 8 goals, 5 assists. Not bad at all in a struggling side. Facts don't care about feelings. That's not a bad record considering how poor we've been. Nearly, what's that? A goal in every 3 games and 5 assists as well. That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby. Jan, good communicating with the fellow TNC viewers. I am watching via Bet365 and I have no partnership with Bet365. It's just how I'm watching the game. Probably one last chance in this first half. Dimi Anulis down the left hand. That's gone out for a goal kick. Not even going to say what happened there because that was a shambles. Do we still have a chance? Yeah, we still have a chance. I think there's goals in this side. Whether we can keep Blackburn out for another 45 minutes is another question. To be fair, barring a half chance through Ben Brereton Diaz from a corner and their goal, which we gave them, they haven't really had too much of the ball in our half. We've certainly had better chances, I'd say, in this game. But the first half's petering out, and they do find themselves behind. Robin Frost says, Adamida not good enough, never has been. Again, I don't really want to pile into players because I think this is very much a team issue and a system issue. I would probably agree that Adamida's not quite at the level we need at the moment. He was the player I said earlier that I'd probably be shifting out for a loan move. Yeah, I think the finish against Reading showed what Adamida is capable of. It was a really sharp, snappy finish in the box, and we haven't really seen that from a striker this season. But already in this game, he's had a few moments where he can pick his head up and find a pass in really dangerous positions and hasn't done that. And that will be the concern. And to be fair, he's not the only one guilty of that. Hernandez is the worst culprit. The amount of good crossing positions he gets in and doesn't find a pass is a concern. This is a concern as well. Ben Brereton Diaz is in. Oh, that is such a good opportunity for Ben Brereton Diaz. He beats, I think he beats Grant Hanley, all ends up. No, it was Dimi Anulis. Oh, no, it was Big Andy, sorry. And he should be scoring. Norwich should be 2-0 down here. Big Andy sold an absolute dream. Diaz cuts inside and he fires it over, and that will be the last chance of the first half. Norwich will find themselves probably fortunate, actually, that they don't go in to the break 2-0 down, and that would have been curtains. But they're still in with a chance. It was Vale, the scorer, first name not Port. Might like a drink of port now and again. I'll stop that joke now. But they do find themselves 1-0 down. Oh dear. Right. Half-time reflections then. Let's get the comments in. Let's see how we're all feeling about this one. I've just seen on my phone that Vale's first name, not Port's, is Jack. What a wonderful first name. A brilliant first name. Jack Vale. That's a strong name, isn't it? Jack Vale. Guarantee he was the first picked for PE lessons. Jack Vale. What do we all think of that one? Fun, wasn't it? Very fun indeed. What else is there to say? Like, just very similar traits to what we've seen this season. I keep thinking, this is the game where we burst into life. This is the game where we score 5. And we just served up the same as usual, really. Oh, no. You know what is quite difficult? Get your small violins out. Talking constantly for an hour. At least when Chris is here, I can kind of just pass a question on to him and he'll speak nonsense and I can stop speaking. I'm going delirious here. Duncan Stevens, is that the world's smallest mug or my phone? It's the world's smallest mug. It's an espresso cup. Got it for Christmas. It's lovely, isn't it? Look at that. This is what Norwich have pushed us to, talking about my mug collection. I tell you who is a mug. Grant Hanley for giving Blackburn such a gracious goal. Got an espresso in there to keep the heart ticking, the mind working. Gemma, great question. What do I think of the lights at Carrow Road? I have seen the light show, I think, 3 times now, and on all 3 occasions, it has been the highlight of the preceding 90 minutes. That sums up the football. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? It's a bit of fun. It's been quite good. I don't think it'd be good if you've got epilepsy. I think that would be an issue. Evan, this is good, Evan, from you. Tell me some positivity in the chat. This is good. Ida's ball recovery's been good. This reminds me of when we had Stephen Naismith at the football club, and I called him the best defensive attacking midfielder we've ever had. I was crucified for it. I liked Stephen Naismith to a degree because he was so poor going forwards, I had to try and find optimism. And he often put in fairly decent challenges, like deeper in the pitch. I think we're at that level. I think you've got Stephen Naismith syndrome, Evan, of confusing what Adam should be doing, scoring goals, creating chances, for what he is doing, ball recovering. That's not his job. That should be the job of Kenny McLean and Marcelino Nunez and Gabriel Sara. Adam Eder needs to score goals and create goals. And he's not. I turned that positive into a negative. That was quite impressive. Churchy, take a piss break and gather your thoughts. You know what, Churchy? I was so prepared for this stream and I knew I was going to be doing it on my own. I had limited liquids prior to it. So I knew that I wouldn't be running off every 10 minutes. I do feel like I need to gather my thoughts, though. You're right there. I feel like I need some sugar. Thanks for clarifying, Jack. Great mug. No worries at all, Duncan. I'm glad I could be of service. One more look at my mug. It is very small. I will compare it to my hand for context. It is it's in between an espresso mug and a normal mug. I don't know how much it holds. Oh, no, I do. It's 100 millilitres. It's a 100 milliliter mug. There you go. Very good, Churchy. You're on form today. You're on form. Thanks. Lots of people have been asking about my 5K running, and I really do appreciate it. I nailed my 5K run today. I got out, and I got outside because my gym shuts really early on a Sunday. And I did it in the sun of Norfolk, and then the wind was down, and it was joyful, and I was listening to a Happy Valley podcast, and life was great, and I knew I was coming back to hopefully watch Norwich score 5 against Blackburn. That hasn't happened. And now it's windy, it's rainy, it's horrible. So today, Jamie, it worked wonders. I am 9 days in because I started a day early. Silly, really. And I'm attempting to run 5K every day in January. For Mind, actually, for Norfolk and Waveney Mind, who are a mental health charity here in Norfolk that we've supported for a little while now, about a year. I know a few of you have spoken to them in the past. They're very good people at Norfolk and Waveney Mind. And I think if there is one message that we can spread today, it's to check in with each other and make sure that we're all okay. And I think this kind of stuff really helps because we can chat to each other. To do something every day that challenges your mind. And for me at the moment, that's running 5K. Movement in general really helps me. Look, I'm really fortunate. Wow, this has got deep, hasn't it? I'm really fortunate. I don't really struggle with my mental health on a serious level. Like I'm really lucky. I do get down sometimes. I do get anxious. For me, the one thing that's always helped me and that will, I'm sure, continue to help me is getting outside and move my body. That is such a great help for me. And if you're feeling, look, January's pretty bleak every year. I think even more bleak this year with money tight. The weather's been rubbish. Try and get outside once a day. And if you've got something more serious, then Norfolk and Waveney Mind are linked in the description. 24/7 help. Those guys will chat to you. A big thank you to Robin Frost, the first super chat of the stream. The super chat function is there. It's the little $ below. You can do that. I think you can donate anything from 99 pence up to £1 million. Don't donate £1 million because that's too much money. It would be grateful. I'd be very grateful for it, but don't do it. Dixon Peters, give him a chance. I'm going to put this down, Robin, and I love you dearly, mate, to Kyle Lafferty syndrome, in which a player that doesn't play gets better for it when a team is struggling. So the prime example was Kyle Lafferty, where we all knew he wasn't very good, but when he wasn't playing and we were really struggling, we were all like, well, Kyle Lafferty's the answer. He'll score goals, and never did. It's often really easy to look to like youngsters and other players who aren't playing to be the option when probably they're not. Look, Dixon Peters is clearly a very talented youth prospect. I don't think he's the option now. Not when you've got Sargent and Pukki and Ida, who I would say are all ahead of him. Toby, this is such a good suggestion, mate. Is it time for a cheeky bar of Nor? Look, I have eaten today. Had some Greek yogurt. I think it might be, I think my sugar levels are dropping here. I need a goal. Or I need some Nor. I might go and get some in a moment. Let's get one more question, and then I'm going to go and get some food, I think, and leave you in the warm embrace of your own thoughts. Jonathan Rowe is a great example. It is. Johnny Rowe, give it a go. I always take the mick out of Chris for this. Look, Johnny Rowe, you would have thought was messy after a few appearances last season. When a team is struggling, you either look for your youth players or you look for the players that aren't playing, and you go, well, Johnny Rowe is suddenly going to keep us in the Premier League. Johnny Rowe was never going to keep us in the Premier League, and Johnny Rowe isn't going to get us promoted. What is going to get us promoted is a collective improvement with a system that works, and that is up to David Wagner. Simon Thomas, welcome along, my friend. We all know Simon, don't we? We love Simon. If any of you were following my Instagram last week, you will know that there was huge drama in my village. It was bin day, and it was a day late because of the Christmas bank holidays. Look, we're all clever enough in this little gathering of our village to know that it was a Tuesday rather than a Monday. But seemingly my neighbours weren't clever enough. And look, these guys that live near me have held high standing roles in society. You would think that they would know what colour the bin was. How wrong I was. Never assume. Never assume. To assume is to make an ass of you and me. They went with green bins. Here in the lovely district council of Yarmouth, we've got 2 bins. We've got a green one for recycling and we've got a grey one / black for general waste. I live on a little section with 3 other houses. One of those houses isn't lived in at the moment. So there's 3 of us. 3 bins that goes out every single Monday. This time of Tuesday. Usually we're in sync. We're, you know, it's all rosy. 3 of the same colour. But not this week. Last week, I often put my bin out late. Bin men come about 9 o'clock in the morning. I'll get up about 8. I'll go out and put it. I knew it was grey bin. I knew it was grey bin because I'm on this kind of admin. I walk outside, still a bit dazed from the night before, to 2 green bins. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? It's not green bin week. Now, at this stage, I've got a big decision to make. I either turn into a sheep and follow the crowd, or I take a stand and make my own decision. And I went bold. I went against the grain. I went against the neighbourhood and put out my grey bin. The problem is my neighbours weren't in at this moment, and I don't know where they keep their bins. They're not outside. They're probably in the garage or something. So I couldn't alert them to their silly and fatal mistake. So their bins weren't collected, and my bin was. So now, yes, I had my waste taken, and yes, I made the right call, but now my neighbours don't speak to me. I'm joking, they do. It was an eventful week. Look, it was an eventful week, but the bins, the bins were correct. Simon, thank you. That's 20 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Look, the option here, Simon, is talking about Norwich, which is really quite depressing, or speaking about the Great Yarmouth District Council bin collection cycle. Which would you prefer? And I think I know the answer, and it's not Norwich. Simon Thomas, what a guy. Agree. Did I get the bin app? Bit more bin chat? Let's do it. Bit more bin chat. Apparently, and this is remarkable, because there's so many things like you would think are simple. So I had a rebate for a council tax thing years ago from Yarmouth, and they didn't bank transfer. It was for like £20 or something, and they sent me a check. So I'm thinking, look, we're still in the 1980s here in the east coast of Norfolk, but seemingly not. Apparently, there is an app that alerts you at 6 p.m. the day before to put your bins out. I still haven't got it, Callum, because I pride myself on knowing this stuff off the top of my head. There we go. Let's talk about Norwich, shall we? Let's talk about Norwich, because that's what you're all here for. I think. Maybe you're not. Here's the small mug again. I promised myself I was going to go get some food. I'm going to do that in a moment. Would you shut up about bins, James? Yes. Norwich are now coming back out for the second half. I'm very sorry, James. I'm very sorry to all. Maybe this is my neighbour. Are you nervous, James, that you got the wrong bin last week? Does that seem quite aggressive? Darius says, how many chances will Onel miss when Onel botch before we score? Well, Darius, that's assuming that we will score. And I think that's quite a bold assumption, considering how bad we've been for the last few months. But who knows? Look, Onel's had in all seriousness, Onel's got in some good positions today. He's found one decent cross to Teemu Pukki where he screwed his chance. But other than that, it's been fairly poor. Onel is a brilliant footballer and would be even better if he could cross a football. And I'm hoping it will come. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to quickly go and get some chocolate to just boost my energy levels, and I will be back. So I'm going to leave you in the warm embrace of your own company with this. Hang on. Screensaver. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. I know who's watching, and if you leave, I'll send around the bin then. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Own up. Who left? There was 382 of you viewing, and there's now 373. I was literally 30 seconds. And 9 of you have left. I've got my Knorr. This is my happy birthday bar. They kindly sent it to me for my birthday. Milk chocolate. It is glorious. If you want to get some Knorr, 15% off in the link below. It is very good. I know so many of you hate watching me eat, but I'm going to do it. Max Bardwell, sorry. This guy. Be happy Knorr, Anna Laken's legacy. My man. This guy knows how to live. What brilliant combo. I think the rain that we just saw at Carrow Road has reached Reeve Towers, because I wouldn't be surprised if my internet connection goes. It is howling out there. Here's to Norwich scoring a goal. We haven't scored yet. Still haven't scored. Progressing forwards. No, eating the chocolate didn't work. Mickey resells. See, you have the Wagner glasses on. Good to see. I think, Mickey, Wagner has got my glasses on. I think I set the style first. He's just added a cap to seem original. Norwich need goals. It's as simple as that. We need to win. We don't need to win. Going out of the FA Cup wouldn't be the end of the world, but just for confidence more than anything. Like, these Carrow Road fans have seen enough pain and anguish in recent months not to be beaten by a second-string Blackburn side. And we've actually gone with a really strong setup today. Norwich have gone with a strong team, and that will be even more disappointing. If we stuck out Johnny Rowe and Tompkinson and players like that, then yeah, we might have an excuse, but we don't. We don't have an excuse. I'm going to eat another chunk of chocolate and see if we score. I'm convinced this theory will work. I'm already feeling more optimistic about life in general now that I've had some more. It's really raining here. Can you hear that? Wow. Craigo, living the dream. Welcome. Been down to Yarmouth. Honestly, we've got people in here eating Knorr and Lakens, drinking Lakens. Craigo's been down to Yarmouth. Let's all fill Craig in with what he's missed. So you've missed multiple spurned opportunities to score or cross the ball. You've missed Grant Hanley giving the ball directly to a Blackburn striker and them scoring. And you've missed like the most biblical downpour you'll ever see. I think that's a fair assessment of the opening 45 minutes. If I've missed anything, let Craig know what he's missed. And to be honest, Craig, you just should have stayed in Yarmouth, mate. Nothing. Even if we were winning 4-0, it wouldn't be as good as a day at Joyland. I promise you that. Simon Jerry, which, by the way, I'm a huge fan of the display picture. He's gone for the custom. I assume that's your cat, Simon, or maybe someone else's cat. I wouldn't want to assume. With the Simon Jerry NCFC branding across it. I like it. I really do. It's clearly taken time and effort and thought. This proves the size of task that Wagner has on his hands. It does, mate. It does. It's. I'm constantly flipping between in my head the thought that this is a really talented squad that is simply mismanaged, and then going for the thought of there's actually not much quality in this side. I just can't make myself believe the latter, because loads of these players have been promoted out of this division before. Loads of these players have played Premier League football before, and loads of players at some stage have been quite good. You don't just lose quality overnight. I think it's just a case that they're low on confidence. They've been through the mill of the Premier League. They've been battered. They've been bruised. And they've just got to find something. find a start, build a foundation with a scrappy 2-win against Blackburn. And then you go away to Preston and get a scrappy 1-0. And then you put in a really nice home performance in. They're the types of building blocks that we need at this stage. And we're just not getting them. We're throwing games away stupidly. And then we don't have the confidence nor the quality to get back into them. I think that's the situation we find ourselves in. So yes, to be clear, David Wagner does have a huge job on his hands. Craig says, sounds like a normal game at Carrow Road. Yeah, not much has changed. This sounds really bad, doesn't it? But I'm kind of glad that I'm not there, which sounds awful. It sounds really awful because I should be wanting to be at Carrow Road. I think partially, if it was 25 degrees and sun, I would probably be there. But at the moment, like, what was it, 15 quid or 10 quid or whatever? Just rather watch it with you guys at home, to be honest. Sounds awful. Can I have a shout out? There you go, big man. There you go, big man. Have a shout out. Norwich, I haven't really been commentating on the game. I'm sure you're watching it or you're tuned in on Twitter or something. We've had a couple of pop shots from range. We've forced the saves, not difficult saves of the goalkeeper a couple of times. But that's about it. Again, Norwich do have spells of 15, 20 minutes, often at the start of halves, where you think, oh, okay, we remembered how to play football. If you can't hear that rain, then you need your hearing checking because it's really coming down. And then we just give away a goal or we just peter out of matches. It's so predictable. So I'm just hoping here we can actually build on a relatively okay start. I'm going to let all of you answer this question while I eat a chunk of chocolate. Not any chocolate, nor chocolate. Discount code in the description. And then I'll answer it. I'm really intrigued to see what you guys think about this, actually. Dimi Anulis or Sam McCallum? Who are we going for? Comments in, please. Okay, some early comments. I think going the way I expected. By the way, Ollie, I hope you're well, mate. Lovely to see you. Okay. I think the consensus is this. Dimi Anulis. And I would agree. I think at present moment, there's not a whole lot between them. I think Dimi Anulis's ceiling is higher. I think he's got more quality than Sam McCallum. The thing that frustrates me with Sam is he's very willing to get forwards, and I think that will be important under David Wagner. I think that's going to be one of the key features of this side. But when he does get caught out of possession or Norwich get caught out of possession, he needs to come back. He jogs. Like, often I'm right behind him in the first half or second half because I sit on sort of the left-hand side of the pitch, right? Or if they're attacking down the left first half. And I'm just like, the amount of times that crosses have been allowed into the box because Sam McCallum's nowhere because he's just jogging back like he's doing a little park run. That frustrates me. Maybe that was part of the game plan. I don't know. But that does annoy me. And I think it's Dimi. I think Sam's a really good player. And I think he's done well when he's needed to. I think over the two, though, I think I probably would be going for Sam McCallum. Sorry, for Dimi Anulis. Chance for Norwich. Oh, that was a good one. That was Gonel Hernandez cutting in from the left. And again, no, it wasn't. It was Gabriel Sara. Again, it's a decent save, that one, by the Blackburn goalkeeper. Gabriel Sara's looked sharp and has had the best couple of chances. It was a strike from about 20 yards out and forces a fairly routine save for the goalkeeper. But Norwich are getting shots on goal now and working the goalkeeper, which is a slight improvement on the first half. And I think we need to take everything as a... I think we need to take everything we do a little bit better quite substantially now, because otherwise we're going to be miserable coming out. Again, Norwich come down pitch down the left-hand side. It's a good tackle by the Blackburn defender. Right, let's get some other questions in. Good to see you. Great to see you, Ollie. Agree. I think Dimmy's technically superior, and under Wagner will do well. I think the fullbacks have got probably the biggest task in this setup. Having seen 60 minutes of this game so far and reading a lot about Wagner, the success will come through fullbacks, overlapping fullbacks, and I think we actually do have that in our squad. So it's all about getting the best out of them. Right, triple substitution coming up. Coming onto the pitch is Kieran Dowell, Daniel Sinani, and Jordan Hugill. Departing is Onel Hernandez. Hernandez is coming off. I think Nunes is coming off. So Dowell on for Nunes, Sinani on for Hernandez, and Ida off for Hugill. So Hugill, Sinani, and Dowell enter the fold. Sinani's been a weird one this season, hasn't he? A really weird one, because first 5 games, I thought, oh, we've got a player on our hands here. Then just completely went off grid and was like, does this guy even play for us anymore? And then starts, not even back in the squad, just starts, and then just goes off grid again. Like, where are we at with Daniel Sinani? Because the first few games, I thought he looked quite sound. I thought his decision making was good. He looked sharp, created a couple of chances. Then he just never appeared, and then he started and looked absolutely woeful. But he's playing here, and hopefully we find something. That was an intriguing triple substitution, though. It's getting scrappy. Pukki has the ball in the Blackburn box, does really well to keep hold of it. We'll find Max Aarons on the right-hand side. He'll drive it. Now, this is what Max is good at, and again follows a similar pattern of what Norwich have been doing all of today, getting the ball in fairly dangerous positions and then just not doing anything with it. And that is an absolutely shocking strike from Gabriel Sara as it sails into the Barclay. Chris says Dowell and Sinani don't get either of these. We've got to trust Wagner. I think as well with Wagner, a lot of it's probably come off recommendations early on from Alan Russell, as we see Liam Gibbs warming up. I think like a lot, he's had a day, maybe not even that of time on the training ground with these lads. Like, there's not going to be too much difference. I think probably the differences that we'll see in this game, maybe a bit higher energy because they're wanting to impress. A bit more impetus on the ball, again, because they want to get into Wagner's starting 11. But in terms of actual style, I don't think we're going to see too much difference. To be fair, I think we've seen some early signs. I think there's been a bit more width. There's been a bit more impetus on our fullbacks. But it's hard. It will be harsh to judge Wagner on this game in isolation. I'm going to have another chunk of chocolate. Let's get a question on screen, and then we can do what we did last time and get everyone to answer it. Here we go. This is a good one from Craig. Omar Bamadeli or Ben Gibson? You do the hard work. I'll eat the chocolate. Answers in the comment section. Who are we going for? Big Andy or Ben Gibson? Again, this doesn't look like a Brexit type vote. This feels fairly convincing. There's no 52-48 here. This is the consensus. Big Andy, 100%. I think probably it would be slightly controversial of me to disagree with that opinion. Ben's not had a great season. I really like Ben. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good leader. I think he's experienced. This season, his form's been poor. I think Big Andy has a huge future ahead of him if he continues. He's athletic. I think he reads the game better than Ben Godfrey did. And Ben's gone on to do quite good things in the Premier League. Marked Erling Haaland out of the game the other week. I think Andy is a more technically sound defender than Ben Godfrey. I think he's, oh goodness, how many nearly giving it away again there. Yeah, I'd probably say it's Big Andy. It was a really interesting point raised by one of you guys earlier, saying that, you know, Hanley, knock him for playing. I think it's probably a relatively subjective thing. Like, some people will think he's been okay this season, some people will think he's been shit. I think the thing that we can probably all agree on is we lack leadership. We really do lack leadership out there. I think it's one of the big reasons why we just never come from behind, is we lack that fighting urge and that willingness and that confidence that we'll come back into games. And I think that is partially down to our captain. I don't have a suggestion of who else it could be, because I don't think we're blessed with leaders. I think Kenny could maybe do it. I think Kenny's got that aura about him. I think he's got that respect within the dressing room. Again, it's not a firm, oh, it's got to be Kenny though. And I don't think there's any reason. I don't think there's any, you know, willingness to change at the moment. But yeah, that's all I'm saying. This could cause controversy, Andrew. Chocolate in the fridge or room temperature? I'm a chocolate at room temperature type of guy. Unless it's like in the summer and it's going to melt in the cupboard, then I might whack it in the fridge, but probably not all the while. Just put it in there like 30 minutes before I want some. But yeah, chocolate at room temperature. I think the supermarkets, you know, they're pretty switched on. And where are they keeping their chocolate? It's not in the fridges. It's got to be room temperature, surely. Although, I'll tell you what, this is a rogue one. Snickers, I love Snickers. Snickers in the fridge. Oh, there's something about them. That real crunch. I don't mind a Snickers in the fridge. Not all the while, because it takes quite a while to eat. But just occasionally, if I'm looking to treat myself, I'll whack the Snickers in the fridge. Tom says, depending on the chocolate, but mostly fridge. Well, Tom, you live life how you want to live it, my friend. Who are we to judge where you keep your chocolate at the end of the day? My dad put Mars bars in the freezer. I think it's wrong. Well, Matty, look, whatever floats his boat, you know, whatever tickles that pickle of his, let him do it. If he enjoys his Mars bars in the freezer, it's slightly suspect behavior, but we'll let him off for it. I've heard worse things. Yeah. But for me, fridge, in the cupboard, particularly Nor. It can't be. I think anything in the fridge just takes the edge off the depth of the flavors sometimes. There we go. Can't put lint in the fridge. Chaz Tats, welcome to the party. The cost of living crisis in the Chaz Tats household. Bloody lint. My goodness. You know how to live, don't you? Are Norwich going to score? That's the question of the day here. Are Norwich City going to score? We should have just scored then. That was a free header for Daniel Sedani, who spurned another opportunity. Look, Norwich are building in this game. Was that penalty shout for Big Andy? He was hauled to the ground. Oh, it's a big chance that for Daniel Sedani. He should be scoring. He doesn't. It goes over the bar. That was a free header. He should have scored. It should be 1-1 max. But it's not. We're still losing this game 1-0. If we do score, can someone remind me to update the banner there? Because I always forget to do that. I did remember, just a bit late last time. Good profile picture, Sam. Respect. Respect. How has he missed that? He definitely put the wrong bins out. Probably. Daniel Sanani is the type of bloke to put the wrong bins out or just completely forgets altogether. I often laugh at that and think, even footballers have to put the bins out. Can you just imagine, like, Tim Krul at 6 o'clock in the morning when he's in his Crocs taking his grey bin out? Someone's got to do it. Is that a Le Creuset espresso mug? It is. No partnership. Don't think it's fake. Got it for Christmas. Very nice present. Enough has my mug shrunk questions. It's just a small mug. It's a 100 milliliter espresso cup. Are you guys playing well, says Brandon? Better than the first half, I think. But that's really low standards. I would say we are playing average to the levels that we've become used to this season. And that's probably poor. So that was a very roundabout way of answering a question of are you playing well? And the answer is no, we're not. No, we're not. We're looking brighter in this second half. And we have had a couple of moments that have worked the Blackburn goalkeeper. Not too much. I'm not saying he's working overtime here, but he's earning his wage. But I don't think anything will worry Blackburn per se at the moment. Did you see that Pleasure Beach Great Yarmouth are removing the log flume this winter? 33 years old. They're bringing in a new ride for the 2023, the Music Express. Not sure what it'll be. I did a part of Great Yarmouth history that will never be seen again. The log flume. Yeah, 33 years old. Yeah, sad times. I hope the new ride at Pleasure Beach is a good one because they're getting rid of a cracker there in the log flume. Where's Chris? Says Jane. Chris is clearly not wanting to spend time with me because I did ask him. I did invite him to the party, and he said I couldn't think of anything worse. No, he didn't say that. He just said he's busy. I don't know what he's doing. I might text him in a bit. I'm sure he's not disappointed that he's missing it. I could have done with someone to chat to, though, because my vocal cords are becoming fatigued at this stage, as are Norwich City's midfield, who just look like they're running through custard at all times. Thanks, Rung Sun, Razarug, for the message. We'll score on the 70th minute. That would be a goal in the next 2 minutes. I hope you're right. Chloe says, tell him to get in on the party. He's a stubborn man, Chloe, I'm afraid. He's a man that can't be told what to do. He is a maverick in every sense. Norwich City need goals. I would like to tell Norwich that they need to score. I hope they listen to me. We've had a few predictions of a goal in the next 2 minutes. I think you'd get a fairly big price on that. But we are kind of playing a bit better. But I am comparing it to previous Norwich City performances, and it can't get any worse. But here we go. TV Pukki, 1-on-1, cuts it across. Oh, that was a nice move from Norwich. I'll be fair to them there. That was a nice move. It was Jordan Hugill running in. I thought Timu had got himself 1-on-1. He just took it kind of a bit wide, and he ended up crossing it into Jordan Hugill. And that is potentially a penalty. No, it's not. Norwich are, dare I say it, building into this game. Oh, Timu, the ball was just a bit heavy into Timu, and it goes out wide. And he has to try and find the cross. The prediction of a goal on 70 was nearly correct there. Norwich had a penalty there. I've seen them given. That was better. That was better. I like this from Chris. Turning the screw. Yeah. I think we've got a hand screwdriver at the moment. We need an electric one to really start turning that screw. But we're getting there. Took some skill to not score that. It did, Ryan. No, it wasn't a clear-cut one. I need to see it because the stream I'm watching is like this small. But it did look like there was a shout for a penalty in there on 2 occasions, both Timu and Max being brought down. Corner. Delivered in. Has Alan Russell been earning his money? No. But we still do have the ball, and we're going to deliver it again and again. We're not going to find anyone. And we've got the ball again, and we're going to cross it in again and again. We're not going to find anyone. Oh dear. These used to be really convincing when people used to say, oh, we've scored. Our goal. And I used to believe them sometimes. But you can't get me like that now. Because Norwich aren't scoring. Oh, Galston played well yesterday, apparently. That's good, Rita. Glad. I'm very glad Galston played well. Are they playing up at East, like near East Norfolk sixth form now? Because they're not at Emerald Park anymore, are they? Peter saying, Control Command, then toggle my mouse. Oh, let's give that a go. Control Command, and then toggle my mouse. Nah, not working that. That's all right. I don't need it any bigger. I'm not missing much. How do I feel about Daniel Sinani? Average. Just average, isn't it? I think it sums up our recruitment in recent years, like just fairly poor. What players in the last, let's say, 2 seasons have been successes? That's a question for you. What players in the last 2 seasons have we signed that you've gone, cool, yeah, that was a good signing? I maybe would have said Marcelino Nunez for 2 weeks. I think he's fairly average. Just trying to think. I can't think of a single player that Norwich have signed and I've gone, how have we managed that? See, Christian says Sargent, but I mean, we paid a lot of money for Josh Sargent and we signed him for the Premier League and he wasn't good enough for the Premier League. So in terms of if you're basing it on a player that has met their objectives, Josh hasn't. Like, yeah, he's good and he's representing America and per se, but he did nothing in the Premier League. Angus Gunn, yeah, but like that, I don't think that was an important signing because we had Tim Krul. I think Angus Gunn is better than Tim Krul. Again, like and again, we paid fairly decent money for him. Is he a player that I go, how have we done that? No. Sarah has potential. Paid a lot of money for him. I'm just watching a few of these. I think if there was VAR, there's not VAR, is there? Is there VAR? No, there's not VAR. If there was VAR today, I think there would have been a couple of penalties. There's been 2 handballs now from Norwich players, one from Hanley, one from McLean that should have been probably given. And I need to watch that back, but I'm sure Norwich had a good shout a minute ago that if VAR was in play, there would have been at least 1 penalty today, and I don't think it would have been in Norwich's favour. I actually oh my goodness, they just hit the post. Is that Hanley again? Hanley, I'm not going to say anything more about Hanley because I was praising him earlier and he literally gave the ball away for their goal and he's nearly scored an own goal there. It hits the post. This sounds really odd because Norwich have had good spells in this game, but I think we are actually fortunate to only be behind by 1. I think they should have had a penalty. They've just Hanley's hit the post for them. He's been their best attacker today, Grant Hanley. He's been pivotal in all of their good movements. Yeah. Signings that have been good. Someone said, sorry, Liam Gibbs, says Danny. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's good. He doesn't get me off my seat, put it that way. Maybe one for the future. I think I guess the problem is Norwich are in a position where they don't have enough cash to spend 25 million on a player, which is probably what you need to make a dent on the Premier League. So they're operating in a market that they are signing players for the future, and they just have to gamble that like 1 or 2 of them are good enough for the present day. So the likes of Nunez and Sarah and Gibbs and Sinani and Jolis and Sargent, like these are all players that might work in 2 years, which is just a bit depressing, to be honest, because who knows if they'll work. I don't know. Someone provide a pick me up because this last 10 minutes has been really poor and I've run out of chocolate. Great chocolate, 15% off. Do something good today. Get some Knorr. And just thought we had a world-class academy. I think we have got a good academy. And I think the problem is like, you just can't, if you want to be in, the top 6, top 2 of the championship, particularly then in the Premier League, you can't chuck 17-year-old kids in because unless you might have won every other year in a Jacob Murphy or a Max Aarons or a Big Andy, like they're just going to be they're not going to be on it. And I think that's partly down to academy football not really being overly competitive. Like the difference between under 21 stuff and championship football is huge. Like it is such a big difference. And I think that gap's getting ever wider and every team now needs success instantly. You can't wait 2 years and play a 17-year-old week in, week out, because you need that success now. And I think that's part of the issue that Norwich and teams like Norwich are facing is you just need endless pots of cash, and we don't have it. We don't have it. So you are operating in recruitment markets that there are going to be, for every 1 success, 9 failures. And I think that's probably been the record that Norwich have had. For every Emi Buendia, there's been 9 Marcel Francas. Like, it's just what happens, I think. And I don't think our recruitment's been worse than anyone else's. You will always get anomalies with certain clubs. I think Burnley have recruited really well over the summer. Brighton have been clever with their business in the Premier League, and probably add Brentford to that list. But it's not sustainable. You do need cash, and Norwich don't have that at the moment. This game's really opening up. I think there's going to be another goal. I wouldn't be able to tell you which way it goes. Blackburn are having chances. Norwich have had a couple of chances. Norwich are having to throw things at this now. And it will be interesting, I think, for David Wagner. Would he prefer to lose or to have a replay? Because I don't think we're scoring 2 in 13 minutes. I may be wrong, but I don't think we are. So I think probably the best we can hope for at this stage is a draw. And do you really want an FA Cup replay away to Blackburn? No. Liam, thank you so much for the super chat, mate. I'll remind you once more, there is a super chat option. It's the $sign at the bottom of the comment section. I really do appreciate it. It helps the channel out no end. What would be your all-time 11? Oh, let's open this one up to the floor. Let's do it in the time that we've all collectively been watching Norwich. So I've been watching us consistently since probably 2008, like week in, week out. I was kind of tuned in for like the Worthy era, but I wasn't regularly going to Carrow Road. So I'll go from like 2005, because I want to include like, would any of those players get in? Probably. Let's open that up to the floor. All-time Norwich 11s. That's a bit of fun. That'll cast our minds back to better times. As Norwich are getting beat here 1-0 by Blackburn. I don't know why, but my stream has just gone to a really, really wide angle lens. So I'm really grateful that I can see the beautiful skyline of Norwich under dusk, but I'm less grateful that it looks like sort of Football Manager dots on my screen at this stage. Just blurry blobs of yellow running aimlessly around the sea of green. I tell you what hasn't been great this season. Oh, Jack, tell me the long list of things that haven't been great. Norwich City's attacking corners. Now, defensively, I think we've actually been fairly sound from set pieces. But, oh my God, corners. Have we scored from a corner this season? Maybe 1, 2? Appeals for handball. It was a pop shot from Kenny McLean on the edge of the box. I think they're just claiming for anything now. It's getting really, really desperate. And that is a shocking ball from Max Aarons into a Kieran Dowell that's looking rather soggy, as the majority of the players are, because it's pouring down with rain. Right, let's go with the all-time 11. Fashanu, Brian Gunn, Darren Huckabee. Huckabee has to make it. Flecky. Are we talking about Dale Gordon there? Grant Holt. Yeah, good shouts. Pukki. I think I'd have Pukki in my all-time 11 up front with Holty. Oh, imagine that as a front two. My goodness. Robert Green in goal. Robert Green or Brian Gunn? I never got to watch Brian Gunn live, so I watched Robert Green. He was very good, wasn't he? We've been really lucky with goalkeepers over the years. We've always had a reliable goalkeeper, you know? Ruddy, Krul, Gunn, Green, Forster. We've had a good run with goalkeepers. We've had a really good run. Drury. Yeah, I think Drury probably gets in there. I think he just about edges it over James Husband. Wesley definitely gets in. Wow, I miss Wes Houlihan, man. I honestly think for a 10-minute cameo, he could still play at this level. Maybe he hasn't got the legs anymore, but he's got the skill. He's definitely got the skill. Buendia. This is going to be a very attacking team, I think. Buendia, best championship player ever. That's a shout. Who's the best ever championship player? I think some people would say Adel Taarabt for a couple of seasons. I think Buendia's got to be at least in the conversation, hasn't he? I mean, he was unbelievable. Unbelievable. It also took him a couple of games to get going, didn't it? I can't remember it being an instant impact. The goal that I think this goal was fairly early on. Remember that goal he scored against Brentford, where it was just this long, hopeful ball flown forward and it's coming over his head and he just like flicks it into the bottom corner. That was the goal that got me off my seat and went, oh shit, we've got a player on our hands here. And I think from that moment on, he just really, really kicked on. Bellamy. Craig Bellamy. What a player. Loved watching Bellamy. Not only at Norwich, but just throughout his career. Norwich got a chance here. Edge of the box. Straight at the goalkeeper. Oh, dear. That was Jordan Hugill. That was just rustiness from Hugill. He had a good shooting opportunity there and almost couldn't have fired it more at the goalkeeper. Like, the goalkeeper's not even moved. He's just gone, thank you, straight into the arms. I still think there's a goal in this game. I mean, it could well go to Blackburn and this could well be 2-0 again, but it's too open not to be another goal. Mitrovic, shout for best ever player in the Championship. I think in terms of goals, yeah, probably. Mitrovic is a funny one, isn't he? Like, whenever I watch a Fulham game for a full 90, which I can't say is regularly, but I have done it occasionally. I've been known to do it. I watch and I'm like, how do you score as many goals as you do? But he does. He's clever. I guess people would have probably said that about Grant Holt. How does this guy score so many goals? Because he's Grant Holt. Because he just knows where the back of the net is. Norwich have another corner. It's Daniel Sinani to take. Make your own mind up about what's happening with this one. I think I could probably inform you. And actually, it nearly worked. It was a header from Jordan Hugill, who's been fairly active since he came on. It was a good cross from Sinani. Hugill gets his head on it. Again, it's a fairly routine save for the goalkeeper, but it's another corner. How many corners have Norwich had this game? I need to have a look. I'm going to guess at 12. We have had 12 corners. What a guess. 12. That's the one thing I've got right today. The amount of corners that Norwich have had. 12 corners. There we go. Something good has happened. What's the score, says Will? We're losing 1-0, buddy. We're losing 1-0. Jonathan, how do you think I feel? Finding it hard to justify keeping any of these players. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're going to sell them all. But in terms of keeping them in the starting 11, I mean, yeah. Like, I'm finding it pretty hard to justify performances at the moment as well. Christian says no one's scoring. Christian, I'm trying to create some suspense and excitement. Maybe not. But to be fair, the game is open. That is one thing. And there have been a couple of chances at either end. Yeah. Chris, was it awkward doing the Kenny interview after you said we should bin him off at the end of this season? No, it wasn't. I think I really like doing interviews with like players that I've maybe criticised in the past, because I think everyone is, as long as you do it in a constructive manner. I think there's been a few occasions where I've been slightly harsh on people. I think I was maybe didn't go about my criticism of Tim Krul too well early on, and maybe the same with Josh Sargent last season, like where it's got a bit too personal. But with Kenny, I've always been constructive. I've said that he's, has been an integral part in good times for Norwich, and has had times where he's looked really average. And I'm of the belief that if you're a professional footballer, and if you're a well put together bloke or woman or anyone functioning in society, you should be able to take constructive criticism. And Kenny knew that I'd said those things, and we had a good chat about it. And I think it's really important to have those conversations. If you're willing to criticize someone, you should be willing to, say it to their face. And I think we got the balance right with that. I think it was a nice mix of upbeat chat of promotion seasons, and also like, why have we continuously failed in the Premier League? So no, I don't regret saying any of that. And no, it wasn't awkward. It was really, really lovely. Kenny was great. I'd never spoken to Kenny prior to that. Chris had a little bit, but I was going into it completely, completely open, and he really blew me away with his self-awareness and his compassion and his willingness to speak. With all of these interviews that we do on TNC, like they certainly don't get paid for it, and they don't have to do it. we've never, ever paid a single guest. Everyone always does it out of the goodness of their heart and wanting to share a story. And like, these things are time consuming. He was there for 2 hours. His wife was waiting in a nearby restaurant. Like, it was hassle for him, but he did it because he wanted to share his story and he wanted to let the fans know what he was thinking and what the inner workings of Norwich City were thinking. And I thought he was really good on it. I enjoyed that one. Liam says, how do you book the players? Well, the difficulty with football, and I think it's quite unique. It's quite unique in a sense that the players are almost like assets, right? So they're kind of managed by the football club. The football club, in a sense, own their rights and what they do and what they say, because there's so much cash swilling around and because there's so many contractual obligations. So the kind of, I don't really know if I should be saying this, but I'll say it anyway. The kind of structure that we've always gone with is we will form working relationships with players, and Chris more so than myself. A lot of them watch the videos. A lot of them are fairly active on Twitter under different accounts. So they're aware of TNC, right? And they're aware of a lot of other people. Sometimes they'll message us. Sometimes we'll message them, and we'll form a trust, I guess, to know that we're not going out to get anyone. And probably over the course of like 6 months, we'll know who might be interested, who won't be interested, who'd be a good fit for the podcast. Like, to have a conversation with someone for a full hour is quite difficult, and it takes a certain person to do that. And then we've got to get permission from the football club, which is difficult sometimes. Like, that Kenny one was probably 18 months in the making, of like constant work and constant messaging and relationship building with the football club and stuff. So yeah, we had a busy, was it December or end of November into December? We had the Atanasios, and then we had Kenny McLean, and we've got one in the works at the moment. But these things will be, up to 2 years of work to get across the line. So it's the reason why not too many fan channels get these types of interviews, because the work that it takes to get them is often a lot, and a lot probably would deem it not worth it. But we feel it's important to provide a different kind of content to what I guess you get elsewhere. We're in the 89th minute, and the reason I've been chatting much about the game is because very little's happened. It's been scrappy. Norwich have a corner here. It will be taken by Daniel Sanani, in swinging corner with his left foot. 89 minutes on the clock. I don't think there'll be too much added time. Again, it's a really quite tantalising ball, but it's headed away by Blackburn. I will be gaming. We need more young English talent. New centre-back acquired. Thanks for the super chat. I really appreciate it, mate. I think the problem that all football clubs, not just Norwich City, face is young English talent is very expensive. So unless they come through your academy, like, there's probably more cheaper alternatives out there. And we've had success with that, dipping into the German market. I think a big thing at the club at the moment, and it's the reason we signed Sarah and Nunes, is it's slightly easier for like South Americans to get working visas and stuff now. And there's probably value to be had out there. So we're going quite hard in scouting in South America. Young English talent is great, but it comes with a price tag. And often that price tag is just so overinflated for what you're actually getting. So I think that's an issue. There will be 90 minutes of rolled over, 5 minutes of added time. The ball will be whipped in. It's headed up by Big Andy and it's out. I mean, I don't think there's a goal coming here, guys. And it will be really annoying to have lost a game in Wagner's first game in charge through a goal that's just so sloppy and just sums Norwich City up at the moment. Just very pedestrian, lacks quality in the final third, and just really sloppy. I think in all areas, just there's no decisiveness with our ability to find players in the final third. There is always a mistake on us at the back, and that That's disappointing. There's 5 minutes left. To be honest, at this stage, the thought of an FA Cup third round replay at Ewood Park in midweek is fairly unappetising. I tell you what I'm predicting here. It's just popped into my head. I bet you if we lose, Blackburn draw Ipswich in the next round. I just got a feeling that happens. And I'm not saying I want an East Anglian derby by any stretch. I've just got a feeling Blackburn get Ipswich. It could have been us. Hugo's Thunder Rocket. Just you wait. Hugo's had a couple of chances actually since coming on. He's had one that he'll really wish he did better with. Basically a free strike from 20 yards out, straight into the hands of the goalkeeper. There's been a few moments like that for Norwich in the second half, sort of pop shots for 20, 25 yards that with a bit of quality, a bit of confidence. I think a couple of those fly in, but not today. Again, another pop shot from 25 yards. That one does take a deflection out for a corner. That is 15 corners now, and I've had one decent opportunity from it when Daniel Sinani headed wide or headed over from 4 yards out. But this is very much last chance saloon for Norwich. 92 and a half minutes on the clock. We do have a corner. Let's watch this corner. Again, I don't think anything's going to come of it, but I will remain enthused. Corner. No, that's absolutely rubbish. That is a foul anyway. Useless. Someone said, do you honestly think we'd beat Ipswich currently, particularly if it was away? No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't think we'd beat many teams at the moment. So probably best that we don't play Ipswich at the current moment. Sam, let's be honest, it's been poor again. Serious lack of confidence and starting to feel ability in some of these players. Ragnar has a lot of work to do on the training ground. Yeah, it has been poor. There have been a few bright signs. I think particularly in the first 20 minutes, we broke the lines really nicely and we progressed with the ball better than we have done in previous games. But nothing, I don't think I was expecting too much to change. I think what I was maybe expecting and where I was confident that Norwich would win would be just through like increased energy, like just the kind of not push the technical things aside, like the emotional side of the game. I thought Norwich would be really up for this, considering they're under a new man in front of a fairly packed Carrow Road for an FA Cup third round game. This is a really good opportunity to impress your gaffer and to be on the starting 11, particularly for players like Sinani and who else, like Dowell and stuff, Hugill, Ida. But none of them have. Nobody has been great today. It's just been, no one's been shit, but Hanley has been great. But no one's been great, and Norwich have another corner. Right, this really is last chance. 94 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. Sinani's call is better than Sarah's. Yeah, I'd agree with that. He's delivered some nice balls, actually, Sinani, from corners, and he will have one last chance to do it. This is the last chance for Norwich. It is a corner from the right-hand side. It will be delivered by Daniel Sinani. The goalkeeper's up. Tim Krul is up. It is whipped in. And it's headed wide. It will be another corner. It was a front post header from, I think... No, not sure. That again, it was a good ball. It was front post that time. And it was a decent ball. All 11 players are in the box at this stage, including Tim Krul. Sorry, 10 players, because one of them's taking it. This is the last chance. This will be the last kick of the game, and it will be Daniel Sinani to deliver a corner from the snake pit side of the ground. 19th corner of the game, and yet to score one. It sums up Norwich City season. It will be delivered from wide into the box. Will any Norwich player get there? Oh, they did, and it's gone wide. It's Grant Hanley, and that is game over. It was a free header for Grant Hanley. It was a delicious ball whipped in from Daniel Sinani, and Hanley headers wide. That was the chance against his former club. It was a stinking performance from Grant Hanley. It was rounded it off nicely. He rose above everyone. He got his head there 4 yards out, and it goes wide. Blackburn have won this game 1-0 thanks to a Jack Vale goal, the assist from Grant Hanley. And Norwich exit the third round of the FA Cup. There we go. That is not the start that David Wagner would have wanted, but it is probably the start that we expected. Yet another defeat for the Canaries at Carrow Road. What a terrible month it's been in front of the home fans. Defeat to Watford, defeat to Blackburn, and a draw against Reading. Awful, awful, awful. I'm going to go. I've got nothing else to say. Norwich have been poor. Again, if you want Lakens, there's discount codes in the description. I really appreciate everyone watching. Norwich City have lost this game 1-0 and are out of the FA Cup. Stay safe, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.